Welcome to Critical Penetrator. Today I'm going to be telling you why I think Dystopian Wars is ruddy brilliant. If you are a regular viewer of the channel, you'll know we have been making Dropfleet Commander videos quite in depth, looking at all the different stats and statistics. And don't worry, these aren't going anywhere. We will still be putting out Dropfleet Commander videos as I still very much enjoy the game system. However, it was always the channel's goal to be covering naval war games, science fiction based naval war games in their entirety. And so today we are going to be looking at really quite a long overdue look at Dystopian Wars. This is a game I've been playing since around January this year. Round about when the 4th edition of this game came out, and we have a good dedicated little gaming group at the local club, and we really do love playing this game. All of us come away with big massive smiles on our faces. Loads of stupid things happen during our games because we aren't competitive gamers. We just like to ram ships, blow things up, do things that are not necessarily the type of things that informed and serious generals would do, or admirals in this case. And so, we're just going to be taking a look at Dystopian Wars and why I think it is a fantastic game system, and also taking a look at the artwork and miniatures, which you can see on the screen now. These guys really do put out some fantastic art. So, without further ado, let's have a little look at this situation that arose in our game the other day. The Augustus in this picture is in a bad situation, and we're going to talk through each element of this situation, and we're going to show you why this is very funny. So, the Augustus itself is the grey plastic ship there. That is my ship, my brand new Imperium. I've been trying out new vessels, and so I've been using unpainted miniatures, and it has 3 critical damage effects. These are represented by the blue to orange tokens, which are on the left of the miniature. It also has maximum level of disorder, so it has 3 exclamation marks there next to it, and that represents the crew running around like headless chickens, not obeying orders, and generally disobeying what's happening because the ship is in such a bad state. They're trying to repair, they're trying to move, they're trying to fix whatever's happening so that they don't die. And unfortunately, they might not be long for this world, because in front of the Augustus there is, represented by the lovely blue styrofoam there, that is a volcano which has been summoned by a magma generator that the Imperium player had. So the precarious position here is that the Augustus has been given a navigation lock, which means it cannot turn around, can't try to come about, can't try to reverse in any way. Additionally, the Augustus does have a minimum movement it must make, which would also take it into contact with that volcano. So either way, whatever this ship does in its activation, it's going to crash into the volcano ahead. Behind the ship, and has already activated, which is shown by the purple token there, is one of the Shenlong Empire Dragon constructs, I guess they would be called, and that has done its worst against the ship and put it in the position that it's in now. The Augustus is on 1 hull. Unfortunately, the D10s we have don't have 1s on, they have symbols instead, and so this is represented by the 0 that's behind the vessel. So if this ship takes 1 damage from anything, it will become crippled. This is really important because of the catastrophic explosions rule, which means when the ship is crippled and has critical damage effects equal to its mass rating, it will immediately explode. So we're not in a good place, we're not in a good position here, but actually neither is the Shenlong behind it, because it's only got 1 hull, and so if this vessel does explode, it might well capture the Shenlong in the explosion radius. To add insult to injury, the ship also has a breach critical damage effect, which means that in the consolidation step of the model's activation, it will suffer a single damage. Whatever this Augustus does in its activation, it's going to explode. And this is a fantastic example of how all of the different rules of this game interact in ways which you can cause some very funny moments and extremely bizarre, weird, and wacky things to happen. I activated the ship, I crashed into the volcano, I breached, I exploded, and I took the Shenlong to crippled. And it was very funny, and we laughed about it quite a lot. There was no way I could recover from this situation because of the placement of the volcano, which was pretty canny by the Empire player, and also the fact that I had not dealt with the Shenlong, who was coming round the back to assault what was a unit of 2 Augustus. Moments like what has happened to the Augustus happen continually in our games of Dystopian Wars, and it does make you just want to go straight into the group chat and say, lads, lasses, oh my god, this has just happened in our game and we can't believe it. And it just continually happens all the while. It's fantastic. It's very funny. And when you come away from playing war games, you do always want to have the feeling that you had fun, and this definitely gives me that vibe. Here on this slide, we have some of the core parts of the game. And the reason why I've added these here is because I wanted to show you how the core parts of the game add to this insane chaos that happens on the tabletop. So, first off, I wanted to talk about the dice. The dice have various faces on, and this is all very nice, but the one we want to talk about really is the exploding strike. When you roll an exploding strike, it allows you to roll another dice. This is just like exploding sixes in other war games, if you're familiar with them. When you rolled your exploding strike and then rolled the additional dice you are allowed to roll for every exploding strike, if they then roll exploding strikes, you also continue to roll more dice until you don't roll any exploding strikes. This can turn a really poor roll with a few explodey strikes in there to something which is actually really quite decent because the person has been lucky enough to continue to roll these exploding strikes. It adds an element to absolute insanity of just rolling the dice for your attacks in game. And I cannot help but be happy when my opponent continues to roll the exploding strikes because it's just funny. It's very funny when they, oh, got another one. Oh, got some more. Oh, there's some more. So it just keeps going like that. And it's just, yeah, it's so much fun. The other dice to mention are the critical damage dice, and these are rolled when critical damage effects need to be applied to ships. Normally, you're rolling a critical damage dice and adding that effect to whatever ship has been unfortunately hurt or damaged in some way, but sometimes these are specific. So if a weapon has a keyword which will say breach, for every instance of breach you have in that attack pool, you'll roll that many critical damage dice. You'll only be successful if you roll the breach face, which you can see here as the down arrow. This adds another level of rules to doing damage to ships, and as we saw previously, adds to critical or catastrophic explosions, which are some of the most fun moments in the game. Adding to the chaos on the left hand side here, we have the disorder chart, and this just represents how likely the crew are to follow orders upon vessels which have been beaten and battered throughout the game. In Dystopian Wars, despite there being some crazy technologies, it is just men and women who are manning these vessels, and so they are not immune to the horrors of war. And as such, it's if your ship is leaking and some I don't know crazy weapons are firing at you, and you can see other enemies coming in over the horizon, and you might feel a little bit disheartened. And so this represents that and represents the crew basically trying to save themselves, maybe even trying to escape on the life rafts, So, yeah, this is the kind of thing which would happen, and it's represented here in the game by some negative buffs, negative, some nerfs, sorry, to each vessel. There's a level of customizability to each of your ships, and you are able to swap out different types of weapons, with some exceptions, on most of your vessels. Everyone has access to a regular gun battery, which is pictured here. And as you can see, each of the gun batteries looks different. This is part of the new gun battery sprues, which they've been putting out with the 4th edition Dystopian Wars miniatures. You do, however, have some far more specific weaponry which is locked to each faction, and this represents their individual technology level. Not all factions within Dystopian Wars use the same level of technology. They are all completely different, have access to different ways of making war. And as you can see here on the slide with the Adventurer, Grand Indiaman, this is one of the flagships. And you can see here it's loaded up with all gun batteries. It has heavy gun batteries, light gun batteries, and each of these has a little symbol there with either the H tonnage symbol or the L tonnage symbol. And these can be swapped out without any points costs for any of the hardpoint options underneath with the same corresponding heavy or light tonnage symbol. So if I wanted to, I could swap all of my heavy gun batteries for heavy rocket batteries, or I could swap only one of them, or I could, mix and match and have whichever I wanted to on the vessel. Same with the light, so I could swap all of my light gun batteries to light swift torpedo turrets or light rocket batteries. It just depends on what I wanted to do, what I was trying to do with the ship. And I could even just have a mix and match and have it as an all-rounder. So yeah, really customizable ships. Most players that I know that are in the local group just leave the pegs not glued into the ships so that they're able to swap out the weapons freely, and that enables them to just use whatever weapons they want to use on each ship per game. You might notice that behind the slides so far, we've had lots of different artwork, and Warcradle, the company who makes Dystopian Wars, put out a tremendously high volume of artwork depicting all the different ships and the different types of ships that there are within Dystopian Wars and for all factions. And usually this is like box art, so you'll see these on each of the boxes, on the sleeves of the boxes, you'll have these. And it just, God, some of them are fantastic. Like this Union one, which is flying here through the sky with these crazy sort of flying rocket things. And then you've got like the other flying stuff, the Crimson, is it the Crimson League, these guys? I can't remember their name, but they're the Sultanate dudes. All of this stuff relates to miniatures. So every single one of these things is or will be a miniature. And so you can see here, this is the miniature which relates to the artwork we've just seen in the background. So yeah, super cool. I love that they do this. I love that they pay artists to make art. I think that's really cool. And more war games need to do it, because there are war games, some of which I've covered on this channel, which have a lack of art. And that, it's just one of the things that helps with the world building, helps with visualization of what you're playing on the table, and also how to paint and model things as well. Some of the more recent art here you can see of the Alliance vessels here. It's incredibly dynamic. They've obviously upped their game as they've gone into the 4th edition. And just to satiate the spaceship enjoyers on the channel, which might be watching this video this far in, we have the double-decker flying saucer, which is, it's just mad, isn't it? It's just absolutely crazy. How can we make a flying saucer better? Oh, stick another one on top. So yeah, it's just absolutely insane. I bloody love it. It's just one of those things where you see it and you think, damn, if I wasn't already playing these two factions, I would have this one as a third. Yeah, fantastic. I want to take a little bit of time to be able to talk about the miniatures now, because they are, apart from the artwork, they're the kind of thing which most wargamers gravitate towards when they are looking for and looking at new games. So yeah, just wanted to take a moment to say, when you buy the miniatures, they come in these absolutely premium feeling boxes. I haven't seen anyone mention this online. I've watched quite a few videos about Dystopian Wars, unboxings and stuff, and they obviously say like they come in a nice box and things. No one really goes into that much detail about the box, and I'm just going to take a few moments to do so here, because the first time I bought some Dystopian Wars miniatures, I opened the box, took the plastic off, took the sleeve off, and I was presented with pretty much what you can see here in this picture. I will add some B-roll of me showing off one of the boxes in the background, just so you're able to see this properly. But essentially, you're greeted with this logo in silver embossed onto the cardboard, and you take the top off, and inside is all of your toys. And it's such a premium feeling. It's such a good feeling to open that box, and these miniatures are priced very competitively. You're not really going to be getting too much more bang for your buck within wargaming, especially within naval wargaming at the moment, for the quality that they are putting out on the hips plastic with these all brand new stuff they've been releasing for 4th edition and coming in these premium boxes. I don't have a better feeling from another wargaming company right now for the feeling, for the process of opening up a box. So I'm a very analog person. I'll write my army lists on paper still where I can. And to go to a shop, to buy this, take it home, open the plastic, take that the card cover off with the lovely artwork, and then to open this box and have a big old smell of that plastic inside or whatever's in there. It's such a good feeling. It isn't beaten right now, in my opinion, by any company that makes any kind of wargaming product. Editing penetrator here, just coming into the video to say I'm about to start talking about the miniatures inside the 4th edition starter boxes, and I was hyper focused on the actual miniatures themselves. However, I neglected to say that in the 4th edition starter boxes, you don't just get the plastic miniatures, you actually get every single thing you will need to play this game. So that is a rulebook, dice, cards, templates, measuring sticks, objective markers, etc., etc. You will be hard pressed to find another starter set which is all encompassing in this way, and I think it's a fantastic onboarding product for this game. So if you're looking to get into Dystopian Wars, these are the products that I would generally recommend that you would be picking up, because, well, I didn't. I started picking them up pre-4th edition starter boxes, and then I picked up the starter box for the Crown, which I've been using as a demo force, and it's an amazingly brilliant set. I can't wait for one to come out for the Imperium. Even though I already have the bits I need, I will still pick it up for the Imperium because it's good to have a spare rulebook if I am doing demo games. So, yep, just going to zip out of the video now and let it continue. Let me know down in the comments below what your most premium experience has been with Wargame, how you feel about opening the boxes and getting the models, and how that feels as a product to you when you take it home and have a look at it, because it's something I hadn't really thought about until I experienced that from War Cradle. So yeah, excellent. Moving on to the actual plastic that you get within these boxes now, and I just want to touch on the ship. So this slide here contains 2 of the contents of starter boxes that they have just released for the 4th edition of Dystopian Wars. These are, the top left is the Alliance and the bottom right is the Sultanate. These are all new plastic. So if you're already a Dystopian Wars player and you own Alliance or you own Sultanate sprues that you bought before 2026, these are remodeled, recreated, retooled, however you want to phrase it, sprues which have all the different optional extras and also some new bits added on. So for example, they've taken away the SRS tokens from a lot of the sprues that are older and use that space now to add on all of the additional faction specific weapons, and bits and bobs and gubbins that you would find or like to find within the sprues. So for an example, some of the Crown sprues, they've taken away those SRS tokens and they have added on different variants of ships and also different prows for the front of the ships, and enough prows to be able to outfit all of the vessels that come in the set as Canadian instead of British. So excellent. It's an excellent thing to do. It's an update to some sprues which, in my opinion, didn't really need updating. Like, they're absolutely fine. Most of them are 6 years old, probably the maximum age of them. So yeah, they didn't really need an update, but they have updated them. and they've made them look a little bit sharper in the detail, and they've added some extra bits and bobs. So definitely can't complain that this company is putting the extra effort and the extra cash into creating something which is a nice product for everyone. So yeah, excellent. When you open these boxes, this is what you will be greeted with. The last kind of point I want to make here is when people speak to me about Dystopian Wars, who I go to a gaming club which has a lot of attendees. I think the group chat has like 180 people in. We're blessed to have such a fantastic community of people who want to play war games. And it's regular to have like 50 or 60 people at the gaming club on like, medium to slightly busy nights. Yes, lots of them are just going to play the standard Warhammer games, but the guys who are interested in other stuff, when they come over, sometimes they'll say things like, "Oh, I do like the look of Dystopian Wars, but it's just boats though, isn't it?" Now, I'm going to show you on the slides next that this is not just boats. As you can see here, we have the Hockmeister walking robots that are walking on the seabed to go and claymore a ship in half whilst they fire their cannons left and right there. And we also have the flying mechanical construct. Are they Japanese or are they Chinese? I think they're Chinese. Shenlong dragons. Even in the background here, you can see this mechanical squid construct is attacking a ship, while some crazy robots fly around in the background there. This game is not just boats. Next slide here, you can see some of the flying stuff, which is what I actually really like in the game. And you can see we have the single-decker flying saucer, and we also have the double-decker flying saucer. So yeah, how can we make this flying saucer better? Put another one on top. Maybe I've made that joke already in this video, but yeah, this is so bloody cool. It's excellent. All of the Enlightened players need to have this ship because it just looks sick. I probably won't do Enlightened just because there's a couple of Enlightened players at the club already. However, if I did, this would be the first thing that I would buy. Looks amazing. And down on the bottom right here, we have my absolute favourite miniatures currently in the game, the Blimpy Boys. I have just finished building my second blimp. I am going maximum blimp, just like the Simpsons episode where he goes on the blimp, on the Duff blimp. That is me. I am Homer, and I am singing Blimpy Boy. So yeah, fantastic. Absolutely love these models. It's not just all boats. You can pretty much take underwater stuff, surface stuff, or aerial stuff in almost any combination. There are some restrictions in your list building to make sure lists are fair and not all one-sided stompy. Also, in addition, you cannot score objectives if you're taking all aerial stuff. So, you need to be able to have some presence on the ground, on the water, to be able to take the objectives anyway. So, yeah, just cool things to have. Powerful units as well. Some of the flying blimpy stuff here, just taking a look at the rules for it the other day, it's actually pretty good. So, yeah, fantastic. Absolutely love to receive boxes of Dystopian Wars miniatures from wherever I buy them from, just so I can build up these lovely plastics. And here you can see one of our typical games. I think this picture might be quite old because I'm playing the Crown here, and that was what I was playing when I first started playing Dystopian Wars. I think it was in January. You can see we have some really nice terrain, which is already being created by the club that we attend. So massive shout out to them because, yeah, I just love going to the gaming club. And here we can see my Crown facing off against the Empire. Just excellent game, just flows really nicely, looks lovely on the table. That paracetamol there, which is on the side, is just not because of the game, I assure you. Yeah, and so just as a final slide here, we have some of my I think these are Munich aerial destroyers, which I painted the other day using the Speed Demon painting, Armored Clash Imperium color scheme, and they came out super nice. So yeah, massive shout out to him because he's been covering the game for a long time, been watching his videos for a while as well. I do like his content. Yeah, so if you have experienced Dystopian Wars before, please leave down in the comments your favourite things about the game. Until next time, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again in the next video.